Do you know what today is?
Quit groveling.
We have reached the end of book 1. Light to the Forge, chapter 12.
Okay, well, I've got actually an interesting speculation that I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
Okay, so Frodo has a shard of the Witch King of Angmar's knife in his arm that he's been carrying around, right? And the whole idea is that it's working its way into it from his shoulder, and now it's making its way towards his heart in order to kill him, to make him become a wraith. Is that correct? Okay. So now, there's a few things I want to ask, but first of all, what do you think would have happened had he succumbed? You know, because the Nazgul basically felt that it was a matter of time before he would succumb from his wounds, right? Mm-hmm. And then they wouldn't have to like chase him chase him. They basically he would find them.
He explained Aragorn kind of seemed surprised that they kind of disappeared after that attack on Weathertop, and so two things I think, and you just alluded to one of them. For one, obviously, I don't think maybe they were not suspecting Isildur's heir or whatever would be there to fight them. Maybe they weren't expecting that.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
So they were like, "Oh no, let's go back and reassess this whole thing." But I think what you were just saying, and it was actually alluded in the text, where it was like once that poison was deposited in Frodo, the Ringwraiths didn't have to keep harassing them because they thought, oh, it's just going to work its way into his heart and he's going to succumb. And it's like, to them, it was probably like mission accomplished. Once that poison piece enters his heart, it enwraiths him. But
enwraith, trademark.
Trademark.
You heard it first.
And I just imagine Frodo like kind of melting, like his body just kind of, like at the end of
kind of like Yoda.
Yeah, or at the end of Wizard of Oz, where the witch is like, I'm melting.
Right,
and just kind of dissolve the body. Frodo's body would just dissolve, and he would become a literal like spirit wraith.
Right, but he would still need to like, much like the Ringwraiths, where there's a spirit, but there's still some kind of mass there, because how else would clothes like their robes hang on them? You know what I'm talking about?
It's like, it's magic.
I know it's magic, but what? Like, how do they they'd have to burn him. They'd have to like basically strip him and then take the ring. You know what I'm talking about? They would have had to take the ring, in which case I don't think that the intention.
Wait, Aragorn would have had to take the ring?
If Frodo's a wraith, they would absolutely have to take the ring.
But I'm thinking, why else make Frodo a wraith other than to make him, from the Ringwraith's perspective,
right?
Don't you think once he becomes a wraith, he would go over to the Ringwraiths and just give up the ring to the Ringwraiths?
Right, but what I'm saying is like they would, the hobbits and Aragorn would still have to would see him, because even if they were carrying the ring, they could just oh, there goes the ring. There's no way that he would hide him. You know what I'm talking about? He would still be clothed. He would still be in what he it basically is death garments, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then how would they stop him? How would they stop the Wraith Frodo from delivering the ring to the Ringwraiths? They would have to basically grab the clothes and just grab whatever was on there.
They put a net around him.
Yeah.
They spray him with spray paint.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but this leads to the other question, right? So had they not met Glorfindel, who slowed and again, for lack of a better term, I'm calling it the poison, slowed the poison even more to get to Rivendell and it was like really touch and go. He almost faded in Rivendell, and had it not been for Elrond, he would have, been a wraith. And in which case, in Rivendell, they probably could have taken care of it fairly easy, perform some kind of exorcism. But out in the wilderness, like say Glorfindel didn't come up, and then you saw like Frodo like gasping, would Aragorn like kind of have to put him out of his misery and take the ring to continue the quest, knowing that Frodo, if he would become a wraith, would deliver the ring to Sauron, via the Ringwraith.
I'm imagining a few different scenarios. I mean, one, like Frodo becomes a wraith, and as a wraith, he can go purely in the spirit world, so that any material Frodo that used to exist, his clothes, his body, his skeleton, it just disappears, dissolves, burns away.
Right,
and he just kind of, he flies ghost-like, somehow managing to still hold on to the ring, because I imagine they, the Ringwraiths can wield weapons. They have some way to like hold things in the physical world.
Right.
So he would just the hobbits, the company as it stands, would not be able to stop Frodo from. This is just one scenario.
Right.
Going over the Ringwraiths and doing as was the Ringwraiths' intention, where the Ringwraiths just recruit little Frodo into their company as kind of a mini-me.
Yeah.
As a mini-me Ringwraith.
Well, I mean,
and he could be their apprentice, bring them coffee.
No, yeah. But
like,
honestly,
Frodo,
they would have taken him to Mordor, and Sauron would have tortured him, for forever, because that's what he does.
According to our Western propaganda.
Right. Yeah. According to the propaganda put out by Minas Tirith.
Right.
Yeah, baby eaters over there. They eat babies.
I've been following Sauron on Telegram. Yeah. And I kind of see things from his perspective now.
Yeah, I've been following Sauron on Palantir and Me.
But I could just see Frodo hanging out at Barad-dûr and like, Frodo, where's my coffee? And he's like, "Here you are, sir."
Yeah, dude, probably like. But my point is though. But here's the other thing though. This leads me to the more interesting question, right? So it is like the last minute.
Wait. Hold your interesting question for just a second. That was scenario A.
Okay.
Quickly, scenario B is. It's kind of like that morals, if you ever take like an ethics class or a morality thing where it's like they play these thought experiments where it's like, if you, let's say you're driving to the hospital to save the lives of 10 people who are burn victims or whatever, but in order to get to the hospital in time, you have to run over a child in the road or something. Like, would you sacrifice the one child to save the 10 or whatever? So it'd be kind of like, so plan B is the Aragorn and the hobbits kill Frodo, take the ring from him, kill like zombie Frodo.
Yeah.
Kill their friend in order to save the rest of mankind. That's my other scenario B.
Right. Yeah, well that's like the scenario that I was like leading to was like, okay, it's like, oh, this guy has about like 3.5 minutes left. Do we stab him in the heart and take the ring, or do we take the ring off?
Who of the company, as it stands now, who of that group would have the presence of mind to do that? Only Aragorn, right?
Only Aragorn. I don't think the hobbits would do that. But Aragorn, again, seeing
they can't. They're not that far-sighted.
But again, though, like, because Aragorn killed somebody, even if it's with the purest of intentions, the way that he acquired the ring was through a death, right?
Mm.
Do you think that would have opened the door for him to be corrupted even before they got to Rivendell?
Open the door for Aragorn to be corrupted?
Yeah. Or do you think
Yeah, I don't
he
know.
would? Yeah, because like again, you kill this thing, this hobbit,
Mhm.
right? Knowing, yeah, it's like a completely ethics question,
Right.
ethics
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
problem, you know,
Hmm.
knowing that I mean, how much of a temptation do you think? I mean,
Yeah,
that he would.
I agree. It's a fine line because there there's some slightly, I don't know, that people have called it like the selfish gene or whatever. Like there's an act of selfishness in self-preservation. So for Aragorn, he kills Frodo as an act of self-preservation in order to save himself and, as far as he knows, humanity, Middle Earth,
Right,
right? But in that act of self-preservation, there's also a selfishness involved because he's trying to preserve himself too. So
yeah, essentially,
would that self-preservation act in killing Frodo segue into more selfishness for Aragorn? Like, okay, once he has the ring, hey, I'm ring bearer now, and then it
yeah,
becomes like a an egotistical actor looking out for his own self interest. I could see that snowballing in that direction. So good thing Frodo didn't die.
yeah, it's a good thing. But let me wrap this up by saying that I think they probably would have made it to, because like Aragorn has been very pragmatic, and honestly, he could have taken the ring any time between, you know, like look, they could have gotten like 5 minutes out of Bree, and he could have been like, okay, guys, give me the ring, or
Right,
you lost
right.
your Lupins, you know.
Do you think that? Do you think Gandalf counseled Aragorn to leave Frodo alone and not try to take the ring from Frodo? Because, like, how much could Aragorn really know? I mean, he knows he's like he's got Isildur's Bane or whatever. He must know
Right,
some of that history of the ring. I'm just thinking, like, Gandalf knows Frodo really well, right? And knows the
right,
Bagginses
right.
really well. So he knows enough to be able to vouch for them and to tell his buddy Aragorn, hey, I know you're worried about this ring thing, but I got a friend.
Yeah.
He's a hobbit. He just happens to be a hobbit, but you need to trust him to hold on to it for you, even though you don't know him and you don't know him from Adam or whatever. So it took a lot of trusting of Aragorn, trusting Gandalf and Gandalf's recommendations and you know what I mean? Like it just
Yeah,
dawned
yeah,
on me
yeah.
like Gandalf. I mean, Aragorn has no reason to trust these hobbits. Not to trust them like they're gonna be deceitful, but trust them that they're even competent. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, they're not competent.
I know.
I mean,
Heaven forbid.
if
Are you
like the
kidding me?
performance, yeah, yeah, like you got, like like they keep joking about, if I keep this pace up, I'm gonna become a wraith or whatever. Like in the
Oh,
last
right.
chat, like, don't
Yeah.
shut up.
Aragorn's like, shut up.
Not funny. It's
You
not
don't
funny.
know. Right. Coming a little bit uncomfortably close to the truth there.
Right, right. No, but again, it's an interesting kind of question. But again,
Yeah.
luckily they met Glorfindel.
Switching gears real quick. When
Okay.
I watch a movie, I'm not usually one to think like, oh, well, that wasn't in the book. Because usually I'm just immersed in the movie, right?
Yeah.
So going back and
Right, right.
reminding myself of how Peter Jackson dealt with this chapter. Here's poor little Frodo, almost dying, and then who should come to save him? Wait, that's not
Right.
Glorfindel.
No. But in all fairness, there was no Glorfindel in the backsheet version of this either. It was Legolas that met up with him.
Right, right. So Glorfindel, like movie makers just don't like Glorfindel. Why is that?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like Bombadil. He's kind of like the elvish Bombadil, I mean,
Well,
think about it.
Gildor and Glorfindel. They must be related. They're like two lonely guys.
Yeah,
No one gives them the time of the day.
but I mean, But you know what? But Gildor though was kind of like, I can see where they skipped that whole chapter ish. Like, I mean, I can see that more than I can see Glorfindel, because Glorfindel played a key role in their survival. Like, I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
Obviously, a movie maker, a director, Peter Jackson, sees this opportunity to introduce Arwen because we need to see her and Aragorn together on screen, give them some screen time together.
But I mean, you know what though? Liv Tyler did a really good job.
No, nothing against
this.
her. Yeah. I mean, it's not like she's an invented character. She's a real character.
No. It's not like they invented a female elf that falls in love with a dwarf and makes this kind of thing. Oh, but they will.
Yeah.
No, that's actually The Hobbit. So actually, can we get do that? That would be a decent one.
Oh wait,
Hobbit
yeah,
that
was that was Peter Jackson's.
That was Toriel. Yeah.
Which you like better?
You know, man, both like we should use like that one for The Hobbit.
Oh wait, so this is Rings of Power. Classic. And then any reference to The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Not only did Arwen in Peter Jackson kind of save Frodo and was seemingly instrumental in healing him, not Glorfindel, but Arwen.
Why? Yes.
Right? Again, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I mean, other than the fact that it's not the book. But as a movie maker, I don't. And like I said, I didn't probably even notice it. I'm like that. Like when I'm watching a movie, I don't really notice inconsistencies with the book because I'm immersed in the movie. If it's a good movie, I'm immersed in the movie.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember this bothering me at all.
No, I remember thinking like, oh, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. It didn't bother me though. But then not only that, but she actually, instead of Glorfindel putting Frodo on his horse and just like commanding him to ride, like I forgot that this happened, but Arwen actually rides Frodo herself, her own damn self.
Right. Well, I can tell
she's a protectress of a sort.
Right. But I can hazard a guess why they had her do that.
Because she needed to be a strong woman.
No. Okay. I think it could have been anybody. I think because of the choice that they made with Frodo being completely incoherent, unlike he was in the book where he was just, like he couldn't move his arm. Like he can't ride a horse. So they had to get to the ford quickly somehow.
Well, so in the book, it's explained that Glorfindel's horse he's a special horse and he won't let you fall.
Right, but Frodo was also conscious and had his faculties about him. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to. Yeah. He was able to say, go back to the land of Mordor and follow me no more.
Yeah,
and
he was less out of it in the book.
Yeah. And this way, and again, like what Peter Jackson did with Frodo in this was like he was completely like essentially he was being drained.
He was zombie Frodo.
Yeah, he was zombie Frodo for like he was carrying poison and
so it would have actually right. And I think go ahead. Sorry.
No. But I think that the choice that they made had nothing, like it was more of a practical choice. If it would have been Glorfindel rather than Arwen, it would have been Glorfindel riding, like, taking him past the ford,
Right.
No, I mean, in this case,
as a film, it probably would have looked kind of silly. Pardon to Tolkien, this might be sacrilegious, but to have Frodo be bouncing around in just him and Glorfindel's horse, as Glorfindel's horse like gallops along down the trail, and Frodo's just kind of bouncing along like a sack of potatoes on his horse, it probably would have looked slightly comical. And this,
Yeah, but I mean,
you know what I mean? And this seems
but also
to be
though,
a little bit more cinematic.
yeah, cinematically this works. But the thing is, like, even like he didn't send him on his way on his horse until they were actually inside of the fort. They wasn't like, hey, we got to, do a Christopher Cross and, ride like the wind. And,
I wish I had that drop. I'll edit that in.
I've got to ride like the wind to be free again. And I've got such a long way to go.
It was a drastic, I mean, as far as it went, it was fairly drastic change to put Arwen here, but I guess I approve of the choice. I approve of the choice because Liv Tyler did a good job. And as a movie, you need to kind of economize your characters, and you know what I mean. You can't have 1,000 characters in a movie, and in order to give Arwen her screen time to build herself as a character and her relationship with Aragorn, etc.
Like if they would have handled Little Miss Thing Galadriel in Rings of Power. Thank you. The way that they handled Arwen, it would have been like, oh, here's this legitimately strong character,
right?
Who has femininity about her that, like, again, through virtue of being an elf, was able.
Wait, did you see my eyebrows?
Nah. Oh, there you go. Sweet. So they make it to the ford.
Yeah,
right?
and he doesn't become a Ringwraith after all.
Right. Aragorn does not have to kill Frodo in order to take the ring.
Aragorn doesn't have to kill Frodo, nor do the Ringwraiths get a free indentured servant to bring them coffee in Barad-dûr.